So in this video we will try to discuss on some of the great predictive techniques and predictions of Vedic astrologers. So the Vedic astrologers in India have great predictive techniques available to them, which are somewhat unknown to other country astrologers, you can say. So it is for this reason that the Vedic astrologers, who have their roots in great spiritual traditions of India, score over the other astrologers, other country astrologers, and make brilliant predictions, you can say. So many ancient Indian scriptures have been given by Maharshis for predicting rains. For example, when Rahu and Venus are in Cancer and joined by Moon, there is rain everywhere, as happened on 3rd July 1981. So this is one of the good prediction techniques if you observe. So Cancer is the sign of water, you can say, right? And when Rahu is present, and also Venus is a soft planet, it is also can also be related to some kind of wateriness, you can say. And Moon, of course, Moon is directly related to water. So whenever you see a conjunction of Rahu, Venus, Moon in Cancer, you can try predicting, okay, this is the day on which you can see some kind of rain, right? So of course you need to understand based on the positions, you can predict this would be the place where rain can fall on that day. So unfortunately, most of the techniques known to the renowned astrologers have come down to them from the family traditions, so they don't share with everybody. So they are reluctant to share with others, and in majority of cases these are lost, right? So another important thing is use of Karpura Chakra was one such method known to great mundane astrologer in the olden days, Haradev Sharma Shastri Trivedi. Said to have the guy said to this person said to have devised this chakra 2000 years ago and presented it to the famous king Vikramaditya. So this secret was given to Haradev Sharma by some sadhu with the remark that its results are very much accurate. So however, this seems to have been lost or stolen, and nobody today knows about this. But if you have a conversation with so many astrologers, then they tell you the Karpura Chakra, the importance of Karpura Chakra, and somehow we lost the knowledge of Karpura Chakra. But people, astrologers say once upon a time there was a Karpura Chakra in the Vikramaditya time. The king Vikramaditya was very much good in selecting the astrologers and everything. He was really a great king, and that time only you could also find Varahamihira. So that time astrology was really very good. And so Haradev Sharma Shastri Trivedi also made use of a system where different states were allotted different rashis. So currently, if you see in India, you have Andhra Pradesh, you have Tamil Nadu, you have Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, like that. You have different states. For each and every state, you can allocate a rashi, So you need to continuously observe which rashi can be given to a particular state. So if something happens in that particular rashi, you can clearly see the impact on that particular state. So based on continuous observation or based on some technique, or you can come up with a technique like let us say in the rashi also, you can give the first 10 degrees to one particular state, and the other 10 degrees to some other state, other 10 degrees to some other state, like that, based on some some technique. It's not, of course you can also apply trial and error, but you can also devise some kind of technique, right, based on which you can give a Rashi to a particular state, or some portion of a Rashi to a particular state, and give some kind of predictions. So it depends upon based on your research, the accuracy of your predictions may increase. So Karpura Chakra is one of the techniques invented by Haradev Sharma, people say. So with this help, by allocating one particular Rashi to a state, with this help he used to pinpoint the areas of disturbance and the directions in which events took place. So this technique is also not known to anyone else, and he did not pass on this secret to others. But this secret Haradev Sharma learned from a sadhuji who was just sitting under a tree and left everybody, and so it is said that he learned it from a sadhuji, but Haradev Sharma ji actually failed to to give this particular technique, to explain this technique to somebody, and so that happened. Now there are so many techniques you can say in ancient India. So in this particular Vedic astrology, we always observe the transit of planets over strong houses of India. So there's a concept called as Sarvashtak Chakra of India, Sarvashtak Chakra, right? This is one of the techniques. So Sarvashtak Chakra, based on Sarvashtak Chakra, every Rashi, so India got independence on 15th August 1947. Let us take that as the time of birth of India. So when you take that as the time of birth of India, so in the Sarvashtak Chakra we give points to every Rashi, right? So let me show you the Sarvashtak Chakra of India now. So in the picture you can clearly see the Sarvashtak Chakra of India. You can get it from any software just by entering the birth details and everything. So it's just like giving some points to each and every sign based on the birth time. Now here in India, the Aries Indian horoscope, this is the Indian horoscope basically. In the Indian horoscope, if you give points to each and every sign, Aries gets 30 and Taurus 44, and then Gemini 19 and 27 for Cancer, Leo and Virgo 30, Libra 25, and Scorpio 23, Sagittarius 28, and Capricorn 20, Aquarius 29, Pisces 35. So you can clearly see that there is one particular dictum established by some great astrologers. So transit of Saturn and Jupiter through Gemini and Capricorn have always been periods of national weakness for India. So transit of Saturn and Jupiter through Gemini and Capricorn. So Capricorn has got 20 points and Gemini has got 19 points. So weakest signs for the Indian horoscope. So they have very less power. Basically the signs have very less power. And when Jupiter and Saturn, when they conjoin in Capricorn or in Gemini, that's going to be the worst period for India. This is one of the dictums, right? So if you see another important thing, so this is one of the fundamental things we can understand. Sarvashtak Chakra is one of the techniques by which you can understand what are the weakest areas, weakest signs of a particular country based on time of birth. And with the experience, we can say the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction happens in the weakest signs in Indian horoscope, that is in Gemini and Capricorn, going to result something bad for the country. So Jupiter in mundane astrology basically represents the financial status of a country. In natal horoscope it can be different, but in mundane astrology it is basically, fundamentally, it is the financial status of a country. It's the backbone of a country. If Jupiter is gone, then everything is gone. So Jupiter is conjoined with Saturn in Capricorn or in Gemini. And even more, I want to tell you, whether you take the time of birth of India as 15th August 1947, or you can take it as the Republic Day, that is 26th January 1951, any horoscope, you can clearly see Jupiter is going to be the most important planet for India. Whenever Jupiter is in trouble, then India would be under trouble. Jupiter generally debilitates in the sign of Capricorn. And even more, if it is attacked by Saturn there, then of course that's going to be a bad period for India. So this is the thing that you can clearly understand. Even more, another important thing, we need to understand that the monsoon of 2002, right, if you observe, so that time astrologers predicted that the monsoon of 2002 is going to be a bit worrying. So the situation is like a drought-like situation. People said, the astrologers said, something like there will be no rains in June and July, but it will start to rain from the second week of August in 2002. That time astrologers told this. So some rains in third week of July would be mistaken because of the belated onset of monsoon, but it will not be a continuous rain. So astrologers predicted that rain will start from second week of August. But the environmental department or whatever, they predicted monsoon will come a bit, will be normal, they predicted, but astrologers, whatever astrologers said that time, that happened. So that is, you can say, based on astrology, you can also predict the rainy things. So that is one of the achievements of Panchanga, you can say. So in the whole of July, if you see the 2002, so sorry to tell you this kind of thing here, but after this we will try to move on something interesting. So in the whole of July, Indian the meteorological department kept on saying that 2002 rains would be normal, but in August they confessed that July 2002 was the driest in 100 years. That time the Ajit Singh, the Minister of Agriculture, was he confessed this one, right? It's the worst drought of the last 12 years, he said. So you can clearly see astrologers were able to predict something better sometimes, right? So based on Ardra Pravesha, that means when sun enters the Ardra Nakshatra, based on that. And also there is a concept called Saptanadi Chakra. We'll try to understand that in our upcoming videos. So based on that, the astrologers were able to predict. So some of the techniques, some of the ancient techniques, they still exist. They are not completely they're not completely destroyed, so they are still working. So with the help of those techniques, the Indian astrologers were able to predict the rains and everything in the year 2002. So there were so many achievements of Panchangas also. The predictions about death of Rajiv Gandhi, ex-Prime Minister of India, and the Hiteshwar Saikia, ex-Chief Minister of Assam, were hinted in these Panchangas also, within the constraints laid down under TADA Act, under which such predictions are prohibited. So astrologers were able to explain something great in India in the past even, right? So in recent years even, I want to say. So the Vedic astrology, as we have come to know of its, is a gift of 18 Maharshis, you can say, out of which the stellar place goes to, means the main place goes to Maharishi Parashara. So Parashara knew all the 24 cosmic components of the creation of the world, which is part of the yoga philosophy, of course. So yoga philosophy is very much genuine, people believe. So it is the son of Parashara, the great Maharishi Vedavyasa, that gave to the world the Mahabharata. So Parashara, the son of Vedavyasa, right? So Vedavyasa gave the world Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and inspired other rishis also to produce Puranas. So astrology is the gift of yogis to the world. So Patanjali speaks of concentration of a particular chakra of one's body to get opened the Jyotish Nadis, after which no one needs any horoscope. So once your Jyotish Nadi is open, you don't need any horoscope. So in the Mahabharata, there are hundreds of references to astrological combinations. So Karna, if you see in the Mahabharata, Karna tells Lord Krishna that the battle of Mahabharata would be lost by Kauravas. He clearly said. So even Karna said this to Lord Krishna. Why he said that? So Karna also knew astrology. So many kings in ancient India, that the time of Mahabharata also, they were very much, they were very much into astrology, kings. Even if you see the Saravali is written by King Kalyanavarma, right? So Karna said Lord Sri Krishna that the battle of Mahabharata would be lost by Kauravas. Why he said it that way? Even he was with Kauravas that time, right? He was with Kauravas. He was in the Kauravas, that team, two teams, right? Kauravas and Pandavas. Karna was with Kauravas, but still he said the Kauravas would be lost, and even Kauravas were very much the number of people were huge in number, and they were actually more powerful than if you compare the number and all the thing. So Kauravas were a bit more powerful to see, but clearly Karna tells Sri Krishna that the battle will be lost by Kauravas because of some of the astrological combinations given in the Mahabharata itself. In the Ujyoga Parva, you can clearly understand this in the Ujyoga Parva, right? The Ujyoga Parva also, if you want to see chapter 143, the slokas 8, 9 and 10. So one thing is Saturn afflicting a Prajapati. Prajapati means Lord Brahma, and Prajapati in the sense Rohini Nakshatra. Rohini Nakshatra Lord is generally, Rohini Nakshatra has the creation power, the power of creation, so Brahma comes here always. So Saturn was in Rohini Nakshatra that time. Okay, Rohini, of course, in Taurus Rashi, Taurus sign. So Saturn was in Rohini Nakshatra. Second reason was that Mars retrograding in the Jyeshtha Nakshatra and was entering into Anuradha Nakshatra. So in the Nakshatra series, you can see after Anuradha, you can see Jyeshtha, as here Mars retrograding in the sense with respect to Earth, Mars appears to be moving backward. So no planet really moves backward, but with respect to Earth, if you observe it, it appears to be moving backward. So we say that as a retrograde motion. So Mars retrograding in Jyeshtha Nakshatra was entering Anuradha Nakshatra, which was a sure indication for fall and destruction of kings in power along with their friends. So clearly that time the kings in power were Kauravas. Kauravas were in power. So whoever is in power would be lost if Mars is retrograding from Jyeshtha to Anuradha, right? So it is one of the indications, and Mars is actually retrograding and moving from Jyeshtha to Anuradha. Clearly it seems that if a battle is happening during that time, then definitely the person in power would be lost. That is one of the indications, he said. And of course Saturn is also afflicting the Taurus, which is the sign of resources, and Rohini is the sign of is a nakshatra of creation. There Saturn is sitting. Just imagine the situation. And the third principle Karna noted here, astrologically, entry of Ketu in Chitra Nakshatra in Virgo and Libra Rashis. In Virgo and Libra, and Virgo, you can clearly see, which again is indication of destruction of kings in power. So whenever Ketu is moving in the Chitra Nakshatra, you say there's an indication of destruction of kings in power. Even this particular condition, so Ketu in Chitra is really the destruction of people in power, you say, is another fundamental thing in the mundane astrology. So this particular fact is also repeated in the Padma Purana, this Ketu in Chitra, right? Ketu in Chitra indicates the destruction of kings in power. So the validity of that combination is actually tested and explained by many astrologers also, with so many citations, so many examples, so many references. So Ketu in Chitra, destruction of the people in the power, right? So this is one thing you can say. So whenever Saturn is affecting Rohini, so Saturn in Rohini is the indication of destruction of the people in the power, and also Mars retrograding from Jyeshtha to Anuradha. And another important thing is Ketu in the Chitra Nakshatra. So in the ancient times, everything was based on nakshatras, right? So these three, even if one condition occurs, you say there would be some trouble to the people in the power, to the kings in power. But at a time, three things happened that time. So obviously it is very much confirmed that the people in power would be lost. So Karna clearly said this to Lord Sri Krishna. So you can even clearly see the politics of Bihar. If you observe the politics of Bihar, so important political events happen in Bihar when planets transit between Taurus and Gemini in Bihar. So if you see 17th March 1974, astrologers that time predicted that there would be violence in Bihar as Ketu would be transiting from Gemini to Taurus. So a Taurus Gemini this is the combination for, so transit of Ketu here may create some problem to the state Bihar. So even the movement of J.P. Narayan against Ms. J. Prakash Narayan against Indira Gandhi was started on 19th March 1974. So the important political events, right, so can happen when this transit and Gemini thing happens, right? Some planet, some important planet like Ketu transiting from this particular, Gemini, Taurus, in these areas. So there would be a problem to Bihar. There would be something happening in the state Bihar. That's one of the important points to be noted in the mundane astrology. This is one of the things observed in mundane astrology by different astrologers. So you can clearly see Jyotish is a kind of super science, you can say. So weather predictions can be a bit difficult, but you can, if you keep on observing the things, because based on Panchanga only in the ancient times people used to predict rains very accurately, but nowadays the knowledge is a bit fluctuated, but still if you practice better, these weather predictions can also be made accurately by using astrology. Even fall of Indira Gandhi was clearly explained by astrologers in that time, during 1977. So during that time, actually Indira Gandhi was in a very good power. So but still astrologers predicted the fall of Indira Gandhi. How? So she was running the Dasha of Saturn, Mahadasha of Saturn and Antadasha of Ketu that time, and astrologers clearly predicted her fall. Because of that, Saturn Mahadasha and Ketu Antadasha for her horoscope was not so good, so they clearly predicted would not be very good. Even Allahabad High Court case of Indira Gandhi, right? She lost in that case. So this was also predicted by astrologers that time, and even assassination of Indira Gandhi. So if you observe that time, astrologers during September and October 1984 predicted violent changes in the central government in October 1984, and the violent death of Indira Gandhi also they predicted. So many predictions came true. If you observe the modern times, in the modern times also how astrology is helping. So when astrologers are predicting something important, then better the government also considers it and take necessary precautions. Even the fall of Rajiv Gandhi, right, and death of Rajiv Gandhi, fall of VP Singh, so many things, droughts of 1987, so many things were predicted. So this is how astrology can be helpful in modern times. Thanks for watching this video. In the next video we'll try to understand a multi-step scheme that we can use to predict the events in mundane astrology.